Oh, he's hit that beautifully. That is
Edward, it was such a tremendous performance.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Nation News Touchline Report, brought to you by Stag Beer. Stag Beer is a vibe. Today we're going to discuss more of the Republic Cup and the Women's Super League, and I'm joined by a good friend, Anmar Goodridge-Boyce. And of course, my name is Nick Maitland, and Anmar and I will be discussing the games that were held last Saturday and Sunday. AGB, you watched some football on Sunday. We'll start with you. Where were you on Sunday and who did you see?
Hello, Nick, and thanks for having me as well. Again, I was stationed at Spitestone. So remember, last week I was at Holders Hill.
Yeah.
This week I travelled to Spitestone, a bit close to my home. And I saw Deacons beating Whitehall 4-1. And then I watched the UA Blackbirds defeating Youth Milan 11-1. A massive win for
I thought we were done with these big scorelines.
Yeah, I thought so as well,
wow.
Nick. But
tell me about this
obviously
game,
not
this
finished.
Youth Milan game here.
Yeah, so the thing about it is Youth Milan, a team based in Chapel Hall, St. Lucie. So they were a bit close to the home. The match obviously playing in Spitestone, but the home court advantage, it really didn't matter. UA Blackbirds, obviously flying away with this one. You like that one?
Yeah.
Flying away with
It's okay, yeah.
Flying away with a big victory. We saw Jaheen Neblett on the score sheet, but Jadon McCullin, he scored 4.
Wow.
Well, I beg your pardon, he scored 3.
Hat trick.
A hat trick, yeah, for Jadon McCullin, the former Pro Shutters man. So this was actually one of his first games playing at the senior level.
Okay.
So McCullin now moving up from the youth level into the senior level, and he seems to be liking it. Against a very weak Youth Milan team, I have to mention that Youth Milan, they seem very disorganized. We waited a number of minutes before they actually got on the field before the game started. So obviously the signs that this was going to be a massive defeat were there for the fans and everyone associated with the both teams to see even before the referee Kevin Clark sounded the first whistle. And then when the match started, inside the first 10 minutes, McCullin had already scored 2 goals.
Oh dear.
Yeah, inside the first 10 minutes. He scored in the 4th minute and then in the 9th minute. A very excellent first goal. I remember the pass, split the midfield and he was in on goal, and then basically collected the ball and then tucked it away to the keeper's left. Evans Prescott, he's the second choice goalkeeper for Youth Milan. He actually started in bar. I was told that the first choice goalkeeper he did not show up. So you could clearly see then the disorganized inside of the team at that point. So Evans Prescott, you must give him kudos though for stepping up, and taking on a massive responsibility when, no one wants to go in the bar.
No.
When it comes to
especially against a team like UA Blackbirds.
And against a team like UA Blackbirds. He put his hand up and said, hey, look, I'll do it. And obviously you see the result. But like I mentioned, McCullin was a man on fire. He completed the first half hat trick in the 41st minute. The score was 7-1 at halftime. What I must mention though, Nick, is that Antonio Corbin for Youth Milan, he scored a stunning goal to make it 2-1. So he actually halved the deficit. And then, some of the fans at the ground were kind of thinking, maybe Youth Milan have a comeback on the cards. That wasn't to happen. Their celebrations for that goal were a bit short-lived, obviously, and then the Blackbirds, taking the game at hand and then going on to get a massive result. What we must mention though is that Ramon Griffith, he's now the captain of UA Blackbirds, and he would have played for Youth Milan. Indeed, so a bit of rivalry there for him, and he'll be glad to get the 3 points and that victory over his former club.
Indeed, I saw you saw that was 12 goals in the UA Youth Milan game, and then another 5 in Deacons, so 17 goals in 2 games. Wherever you go, there are goals though. Yeah. I don't think you can complain that this season, wherever you've gone in the Republic Cup, you've seen some goals. You spoke to anybody after those 2 games?
So before we go to the Deacons game, I did speak to the head coach of UA Blackbirds, Mr. Fabian Messiah. Messiah is definitely happy with his team's performance. He said that the scoreline, it doesn't mean a lot, but he said that also that the team's performance is really what he's really zeroing on. He definitely thinks that the result is one on merit and it is warranted. Just have a look of what he had to say. Fabian Messiah, the head coach of UA, 11-1 winners tonight. What's your assessment of the game?
Well, based on the opponents, the result is warranted. We were basically working on some of the aspects from training, and I saw some of them coming out regardless of the opponents.
Your thoughts on the scoreline? A massive one.
Not really flattered by scoreline. I'm one that really look at performance. So performance-wise, not too bad. Still some things to work on as we get deeper into the competition.
What do you think of the standard of the play that you've seen, the standard of the play that you would have played against so far in the tournament?
To be fair, it's a tournament where all teams are invited. And we're now coming out of COVID, a restart. So don't want to be too harsh, but a Premier League team versus I think they're still in first division, but they would have lost a lot of players, so they're in the rebuilding phase.
Yeah, so some interesting comments there from Fabian Musa. He's definitely a big fan of this kid, McCollin. He mentioned working with him at the youth level, and he's glad that he is now able to bring him up to the senior level. And that's what we want to see, Nick, you know.
Of course.
Our footballers coming through the grassroots level, playing at the youth level, and then going on to make it to the senior teams in terms of club football, and then hopefully, you know, who knows, maybe one day he can go on and play for the Barbados senior men's national football team. So that's a bit of a start. I know the technical director, Mr. Emerson Boyce, he'll be happy with what he's seen on Sunday night.
Of course, and we're always happy when we see our youngsters take on the mantle of big man football, as we like to call it, and produce on the highest level. Somebody's birthday was this weekend.
So, Kevin Ennis. He was the birthday boy. Celebrated his 23rd birthday, Nick, and in grand style, stunning fashion. He scored a hat-trick. All 3 goals for his team. They did score, and well, not them, but the other team they were playing, Whitehall, they scored an own goal. But Kevin Ennis, he scored all of the, what we would call, legal goals.
Yeah, well, all the actual goals for his team.
For Deacons Forum. Yeah, a stunning performance by them. And on hand, what's special to note too is that the Member of Parliament for that constituency, I think it is St. Michael Northwest, Mr. Nero, he was in attendance. So that's lovely to see. You know, the MP for the area really supporting and rallying behind the team. I also saw Mr. Dale Runner. Mr. Dale.
Mr. Dale, a big one.
He was there too. Obviously, he's affiliated with the Deacons team. But yeah, take nothing away from Kevin Ennis. He's definitely a player that I would have seen. Played against him a couple of times as well. He's a very attractive player, very stylish. He's a very good striker. I know he went to school at the Frederick Smith Secondary School. And I can tell you, playing against him, Nick, he was always a task. He always would give the defense a run for the money. And, you know, his transition from the youth football into the senior level, and he's causing defenses a lot of headaches. 3 goals on the night, celebrating his 23rd birthday. Stunning, fantastic. I spoke to the head coach of Deacons FC, Mr. Corey Graves, and he was over the moon. Very happy with his team's performance. Have a look. So Deacons were 1 winners tonight. Emphatic victory in my assessment. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, the guys been working hard on the training pitch, so got together tonight. The last game we won 21, but it wasn't really much of a test. You know, but tonight we got a better test, and it's very impressive.
You mentioned the first game, 21-0 winners. Overall tonight, the winning campaign seems to be going good for Deacons. What is it that you've been telling the guys on the pitch?
Well, on the pitch, just tell the guys, you know, try to motivate them actually before the game. Tell them, there's good years I was training for, coming through the youth system and everything, so they all coming in, you know, to the tournament, so it's impressive, right?
You have a number of talented players on your roster.
That's true.
One of the biggest names, Keon Atkins. How big of an advantage is it to have him?
It's very good to have him because he's a national player and he scored Barbados' last goal, if I'm not mistaken. And it's always a plus to have an international in the squad, or any squad in the world, but like an international player. That's football.
So 2 wins from 2 games. You see the winning trajectory going ahead for Deacons?
Well, you know, before the tournament goes, the more difficult the games can get.
Yeah.
I'm confident we're going to be up for the task. Going forward, I think we're going to compete well with everyone.
Thanks a lot, Coach, and congratulations again. So the comments there from Corey Graves, he's definitely happy with Deacons' performance. Deacons, again, in the winner's role. And I also spoke to Keon Atkins, Nick. Obviously, Keon Atkins, a very good friend of ours. A good friend of the Barbados senior men's national football team. a leader, one of probably the most entertaining players as well. I think Keon Atkins actually scored Barbados' last international goal.
He did.
So he is a player with pedigree, a player with prominence, and he was definitely happy as well with his team's performance. He said that he wasn't happy that he was unable to get on the score sheet, but nevertheless, he's glad that Deacons picked up the 3 points.
How was the game for you, Keon?
Well, it wasn't as challenging as I expected, to be honest. I really think like my team ain't playing at the best, but nevertheless, I feel good we win with 3 points.
4 goals tonight. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, to be honest, I feel like my team got more goals than that. Honestly, I ain't get to put myself on the score sheet tonight. I thought I would have scored as well, but it's pretty hard. We could do a lot better though, but it's pretty good.
Okay, this is Deacon's second win now of the campaign. It seems to be going well. What are your thoughts on that, and thoughts on what the coach has been telling you guys?
My thoughts on the event is always good to start on a positive note, that's the truth. But as I say, we ain't playing at the best. We think until there's a better challenge to put your test and see what we definitely work on. But other than that, the coach been passing on good energy, good feedbacks, many thinking positive. You can see a slight little mistakes here and there, but there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, those comments there from Atkins. Happy to see him and happy for him to give us an interview on the Nation News Touchline Report, Nick.
Very much so. And remember, we wrote the story probably a couple of days ago, that Deacons received some financial assistance, some gear as well from the Member of Parliament as well, Mr. Neil Rowe. Yeah. So kudos to you for following the team and continuing to support the team. And I think Deacons have a great chance come the end of this tournament. Yeah. They could be thereabouts because of the real community spirit behind that team. And I think that will really keep them in good stead towards the end of this tournament. It's
interesting, Nick, that you mentioned that Deacons, stand a very good chance. I spoke with Mr. Rudder, like we mentioned, and he said that the plan for Deacons really is to top the group. So if Deacons can top the group, then they will be able to get a second seeded team going into that round, the 16 quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then finals. Obviously, we know that when the tournament gets to the knockout round, you win, you go through, you lose, you go home. So margin for error, minimal.
I think that when it comes to do or die, I think that the Deacons team will be just fine. So in addition to those big games at Spikestown, we also had some games at Bridgefield in St. Thomas, Briar Hall in Christchurch, and Bagatelle in St. Thomas as well. And my kind producer will now put those results on the screen for you so that you may see. We also had some games on Saturday evening at Bagatelle as well, Briar Hall, Valerie. And also at Briar Hall, we had a 2-2 draw between Clayton's Cola Tonic Notre Dame, almost messed it up. Clayton's Cola Tonic Notre Dame joined 2-2 with Pride of Gaw Hill. And Towan Pookie Graves with 2 for Notre Dame, and then Shakarli Motley with another 2 for Gaw Hill. So I think that the time is right now for us to display for you all the other scores from Saturday's games at Bagatelle, Valerie, and at Dover. There was one game at Dover, Weymouth Wales 2-1 over Pinelands, and Hayden Holligan, the men's national captain, he scored the winner, 90+2 for Weymouth Wales over Pinelands. So those are the games from Saturday, and obviously we have these scores displayed for you. And quickly, AGB, I just want to run through the women's games on Sunday, September 11th. And I think that we've had enough time now. We can put the women's scores on the screen for you. See, I'm just breaking the fourth wall for you, our lovely viewers. Now, on Sunday, we had at Bridgefield, Technique Women going down 4-0 to kickstart Genesis. Asha Stevenson with a goal there. Shantae Padmore, remember, she scored the winner for Kickstart last week. Yeah. She contributed 2 goals for Kickstart Genesis. So now she has 3 in all for the tournament. At Spikestown, UE Blackbirds women, they defeated RF Prime 3-2 thanks to a double from Shanice Stevenson. And at Briar Hall, that's Fitz Village, sorry, my bad. Fitz Village, they defeated Pinelands 2-0 thanks to goals from Keenel Johnson and Giselle Fields. And then at Bagatelle, this was the big one, AGB. Mavericks women defeating Combined Women 8-0. And I spoke to Michaela Aline, and she gave me her thoughts on the game. She scored a goal for Mavericks last week and 2 for them this week.
But I happy with the whole team because everybody coming and putting the effort, and that's what you really need right now. I got to big up my girl more in back line, my girls and my girl Marky Dan.
So how happy are you that we back playing local women's football action?
Great. Was crying for it, mate. Honestly, was crying for it. Begging for it, as Mo said. Begging for it. But it's good, though, to be honest.
Thank you, Michaela. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Michaela is a very important part of the Lady Traders, the women's national team as well. So it was good to see her out there strutting her stuff. I also spoke to a former national women's player in Raquel Waith. She turned out for Combined Women, which is a team of the Ellerton Women and the Empire Women.
Yeah.
And she spoke about her journey, especially coming out of COVID and returning to women's football. What's been going so far for you?
Well, it's going okay. It's the first game, and we play short, and we did a very good thing.
Yeah, how long you been playing football?
Too much years. I was part of the first female football team ever in Barbados. So that's years ago.
Years ago. So you would have competed the last time there was a local league?
Yep.
How was that? How did you find out? Who you competed for in that local league?
I think that was Technique. I think that was Technique at that point in time.
You've been following the Lady Tridents this year as well?
Yes, please.
How you found the Lady Tridents playing with Tiffany White and Camilla Burke and all?
Some of my favorite players played with them coming up in years. You know, I could have been even part of that, you know. But it is though, you know.
Yeah, okay. So now that local football has returned, especially the women's football, how do you feel about that?
I think it's good. I think it's very good, you know, for the ladies to come out and show them that, you know, we could do anything. You know, people just turn around and say that women can't do this and they can't play football as good as men. But we got women that's come out here and show that they can and play even better. So that's good.
So, Anmar, we are done with all the results from Sunday and Saturday. And now it is the time that everybody waits for every week, because when they don't see it, there's one cuss week. The Stag Player of the Week. Now, we have two, of course. One for the men's competition, the Republic Cup, and one for the Women's Super League. So, AGB, who is the Stag Men's Player of the Week for this week?
Yeah, this one was a hard one, Nick. I'll tell you that. Two players on my radar. Ennis, the birthday boy, scoring a hat-trick versus Whitehall in that 4-1 win for Deacons FC. And then Jadon McCullin scoring a hat-trick versus Youth Milan in that 11-1 win for his team, UA Blackbirds.
So
but
who's going to get it?
The Stag Player of the Week for this week is no other than Ennis.
Oh, Kevion!
The birthday boy, he reaps the sweets. Obviously scoring 3 goals in that game versus Whitehall, and like we mentioned, he scored all of the goals for his team. So I think he deserves it.
I think so too. Kevion, well done. Great performance. 3 goals for your team, as AGB mentioned. And for the Women's Player of the Week, no, this is the one that we get cussed for. Maybe we don't bring it. So this week, we're going to bring it for sure. And we've decided to give the Women's Player of the Week to Miss Shanice Stevenson, a midfielder for UB Blackbirds. She scored 2 and assisted the game winner for their victory over RF Prime. So congrats to you, Shanice. Well done. And even though Tiana Seeley, she scored a hat-trick for Mavericks against the combined women's team, we give it to Shanice Stevenson because I think that she dragged her team all the way to the equalizer and also to the finish line. So congrats, Shanice. Well done. We call her Stevie G. That's a big nickname for her.
Yeah.
So congrats to you, Shanice. And I think that's the wrap on this weekend's games. But before we go, this Sports Desk, the Nation Sports Desk, brought you exclusive news that one of our national senior players in the men, Mr. Mario Bagatelli, he signed a 1-year deal with MacArthur FC in Australia, the Australian A-League. And AGB, this represents a massive step in our Barbadian football, a massive step forward, because I think it opened up the doors for many more players who are maybe younger than Bagger, maybe older than Bagger, who can get professional contracts. How do you feel about this appointment?
Yeah, it's a massive deal and a very interesting one, Nick. Mario Bagger-Williams, he's 30 years old. And normally we wouldn't see a player at 30 getting a professional contract. You know, normally at that age, you know, the dream for a number of footballers, it tends to be over. But Bagger-Williams, we've seen him play at the highest level. We've seen him play for Wales. We've seen him play for Paradise. And obviously we've seen him play for the Barbados men's senior national football team. And we know he's a fighter. Yeah. He has that resilience about him. Very confident player, never gave up. And you know what they say, perseverance seldom fails, and you know that's the saying here for this player and for this type of deal. Bagger Williams, he is rejoining Russell Ladapi, who was the head coach of the men's national football team here in Barbados. He's now the assistant coach in Australia at MacArthur. So obviously there is the link there. Ladapi playing a very integral role in Bagger Williams, his deal and the 1-year contract, joining up with the likes of Manchester United legend Mr. Dwight York. So it's a fantastic deal, a big one for us here in Barbados, for Williams, the Barbados Football Association as well. And I think, as you mentioned before, it would do well for our football. And obviously, you know, when Williams, when he comes back to the Barbados senior men's national football team, there will be a renewed player, a different level of professionalism he'll be bringing to the dressing room. And Mr. Boyce mentioned that, the technical director of the BFA, obviously he would have been a professional player,
of course,
winning the FA Cup in his time as well.
As captain,
you mentioned. So yeah, a fantastic deal for Bagger Williams, a very interesting one, as I say. But you know, congratulations to him, and you know, well done for Ladapi, spotting that his team needed a player who can play defense and also in that holding midfield position, and the ideal player, Bagger Williams. So hopefully that he will inspire a number of other clubs in Australia, England, all over Europe, even in the United States, you know, to come and look at Barbados for players for their team. So we just hope that this is the stepping stone that a number of Barbadian players can get professional contracts on.
Hopefully it is the start of something great, and we wish Bagger, our good friend, all the very best down under. There's a 14-hour difference, you know. Yeah. You gotta be studying when you're talking to the men.
So I think he left Barbados on a Friday and arrived on a Sunday. Probably spent the entire weekend
like that.
Traveling.
I mean, he won't have to make that trip back anytime soon. He'll be there at least for a year, and we hope for more years to come as well. So we are at the end, the finish line of the Touchline Report. Thank you so much, Anmar, a good boy here, for your advice and your analysis as well. And be sure to stay tuned to this station for all your news on the Republic Cup and the Women's Super League, and of course all the big football stories, because that's all we do, break big football stories. On behalf of my good friend Anmar Goodridge-Boyce and the rest of the team, Akeel Lovell, our producer, my name is Nick Maitland, and with all the talk about kings and queens of the last week, the real kings and queens were doing their stuff on the pitch. We'll see you later.